Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all
Late.
today.
Oh, we forgot about Zoom lag for singing. Whoa, cool mask, Kevin and Kristin.
Hey, thanks. Just trying to do our part, to
Yeah,
save.
wear your masks out there.
Just wear one that goes the other way. This one is not a good example. I'm showing what not to do.
Kevin,
Come on, Cat.
I know we're about to talk about Hawkeye, but I am it is the week of Spider-Man is upon us, and I'm very excited about your mask. I stayed up on that midnight until 3:30 a.m. in a AMC waiting line, and I got opening night IMAX in New York City, so I'm very excited.
Whoa. Yeah, I waited a little late, but also when we were looking for our tickets, Allie and I were very confused at the amount of options of viewing style theaters there are.
Yeah.
We assume we're in the one that is like that movie Matinee where it shakes your chair.
Oh, you're in the Regal 40X, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're going to hate that. Let's transition!
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin. Oh yeah.
And also, I am here. What's up, Kevin and Kristin?
Hey, we are back. We're back, baby, with another episode of Remark, remarking on the series from Disney Plus, Hawkeye. I am one of your hosts, Kristin Finger. This is another host, or he's over there. Doesn't matter.
I'm over here. I am another one of your hosts, Kevin Reagan. And down in that corner is...
Mike Gregoric, other host. Partners, am I right?
Am I right?
Does partners have to be two? Or
No, I think partners,
yeah. Like a legal firm or something. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Or three amigos, they were all partners, in my opinion. Yeah.
Isn't that what they do?
Yeah. Even though Dusty Bottom is a bit prickly offset, he's still a partner on screen.
Kevin, are you going to give us a recap?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. We watched Hawkeye episode 4, as Mike said, Partners, am I right? Am I right? In the recap of this recap, so as we went into this episode, they mentioned Sloan Ltd, so Sloan Limited. Will it come to pass? Will we find out what it is? Spoiler, not yet. They'll talk about it. So in this episode, we had our who do we have? Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, who are in Kate's apartment.
Breaking news. Those are the main characters' names. If in case
they are. If you go back to episode 1 of Remark, you'll see I did pronounce her name incorrectly over and over and over until I was finally corrected by Kristin, who thought she watched a different show. So we open up with Clint and a sword to his neck, and we see Jack, possibly the swordsman from the comic books, has the sword to his neck. That is the Ronin sword. In that moment, we see Eleanor, who kind of breaks the tension by saying, "Why is there an Avenger in my dining room?" Which is an age-old question we all have to ask. Why is we'll come back to that. At that moment, we have Jack, who refers to, let's just say Jeremy Renner, because it'll be too confusing otherwise. He refers to him as Archer. Kate calls him Hawkeye, and Clint calls himself Clint.
I just want to very quickly point out, my dad started watching the show, and when we saw him over the Thanksgiving holiday, he was like, "Oh, I'm loving Archer." And I was like, I thought you meant like the cartoon. I was like, "Oh, you mean Hawkeye? Dad, it's not Archer." So then when that joke dropped in this episode, I would immediately I was like, "Oh, you're just like a nerdy dad, just like Jack."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does your dad, by any chance, Mike, watch Archer the cartoon? Because that show is amazing.
Archer the cartoon is amazing. I think he's seen some, but doesn't watch it regularly. But I definitely do, and I love it. But.
So then, not to be left out, Kate refers to her and Archer, or Hawkeye, or Clint as friends/partners.
cute.
There they are.
Aw.
Listen, I wish I could credit who this is from. I found it on the internet and I loved it. And I was like, that's
Look at it, it's really cute.
Super cute.
Hello.
That's all I got. We're done the episode. I
Okay,
just
great.
want to look at that picture.
But my question is, because we left off last week with this sword at Clint's throat, and I think we were predicting that, oh my goodness, could Jack be someone that before him was Ronin, blah, blah, blah. Clearly did not pretend to know him, and Clint did not know him.
No, they don't know each other, which is great. Because again, in the comic books, that's right, Chris, the swordsman, Jack Duquesne trained Clint Barton when he was younger, but these two are contemporaries in age now, so that would be a weird thing to do. It would also be a bunch of backstory to something that this story needs to continually progress. I don't mind a little backstory if it involves a certain very large bald guy, bit Danish, shaped like a pin.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm putting down.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's happening. But it's interesting because people still see Clint, when they see him, he is very recognizable as an Avenger, which Jack does as well. Once he realizes, calls him the wrong name, but knows he's an Avenger. Eleanor knows he's an Avenger. And then, of course, Kate refers to him as CB1. CB1. Buy it for your mom this Christmas season. She'll thank you for it.
Kevin, did you work on this yourself, or is this an original Kevin?
No, I did this. I totally did this.
It's very nice.
So, can I tell you, I do this thing, Chris knows this, I do this thing where I give myself about a minute. I don't time it. This is pretty sloppily done. So anybody out there who works in like anything that has to do with Photoshop, I did this incredibly fast. And I just type in and whatever I get, and it's like a Christmas present to myself.
I can't. Sometimes... It's so good though, Kev. We have to tweet this out now that Remark has a Twitter. Yeah. It's really good.
What was CB1? And maybe you're getting to this, Kevin.
What was it?
One. I did not get that.
Clint Barton. I don't know. Clint Barton won.
I actually thought like the start of this episode was a little bit clunky. Like, I don't know. It was just a little bit awkward. Yeah. It was weird to go from like what we were anticipating was potentially a fight scene, a sword fight scene, to this continual bait and switch with Jack Duquesne. I'm a little bit nervous that he's going to be nothing at the end of all this, and it's going to be a tease the entire time, and that I'll be a little bit annoyed by. And I know we're getting further into Jack.
Yeah, we will talk about that, and that's great to bring that up. As far as CB1, if Kate's name, which is spelled with a K everywhere, if it was spelled with a C, that would be hilarious because she would be CB2. Yeah. But Kate's name in comics, in the show, again, I pronounced her last name wrong, so if you're out there and you're like, that's not true, her name is spelled Kate with a C, it's Catherine with a C, my daughter's with a K, then write to us at remarktheshow@gmail.com and say, hey guys, your hats look just on point. Your masks were phenomenal. Love the Photoshop, but you don't know their goddamn names. Get it together. You could send us that.
The thing that I did like about sort of that, I agree with you that the opening was a bit clunky, and I'll get to the like dancing scene in a minute. But like,
then we're going to disagree, and I love it.
At the table, and then like this is what's making me think that what's her face? Eleanor definitely has secretly been training her daughter to become something because she was very it seemed like she cared that if her daughter would die, but she wasn't at all like, how could you be fighting with an Avenger? Why would you? How did this? None of those questions came up. So I was so shocked at the calmness. I mean, that actress, she's such a brilliant performer that she could have gone the other way with it, but she just stayed, and that's why I love the chat she had with Clint at the elevator, because I will tell you, I feel like a little bit of Mrs. Bates came out in that conversation for those that watched her in Bates Motel.
Look at that stare.
So exactly. Yeah. So in here, she drops the name and death of Natasha. This is her doing it. Here's his reaction to it, where, I mean, this is that look of like, woman, I'm going to kill you. It was great. This was an amazing scene. And again, last week we talked about they use adventure, comedy, or action, rather, adventure, same thing, comedy and drama, and this was that very dramatic moment. You know, we see Clint time and time again is carrying Natasha's death right on his sleeve, very heavily, and to have someone bring it up where she said, you know, my daughter doesn't have superpowers. Neither does Clint, in fairness.
Right.
And then she says, neither did Natasha. And it's like, whoa, dude. And like, it was this like, because moments before, it was almost like inviting the guy you're dating to dinner to meet your parents situation.
And I'm glad you like took this specific screenshot, because that was the moment. And again, we know that Vera is an amazing actor, and we know that there's something else going on under the surface, whether it's bad or good or whatever. She knows more than we know as the audience watching right now. And I think you could tell it right here when she said Natasha Romanoff. She spoke it, and her eyes switched as like someone who knew her. You know what I mean? Or is somehow associated with her. Not just like, oh, I heard on the news that you're like really close with Black Widow and like and like she died. This was like a knowing type dig, I think. Yeah, like you said.
Well, I think that leads to who she assumably made the phone call to.
Oh yeah.
Because like I can make 100 assumptions, but like with the main one, I'm thinking, did she call Julia Louis-Dreyfus to
I forgot about it. There we go.
You know, say like is that her contact to, and that's how Yelena finally found, you know, Clint.
You want to jump right to the end of the entire episode, Chris. Chris has things to do, guys, because she is going to Hallmark this weekend to meet Tyler Hines and Andrew Walker. And I know if you're watching this and you're like, I don't watch Hallmark movies, that's fine. That's our side gig. This is our gig. But yeah, great point, Chris. She will eventually call someone. And the questions are, was it the Tracksuit Mafia? Was it Kingpin? Was it Valentina Allegra de Fontaine? Was it the Power Broker? You know, we saw Sharon Carter as the Power Broker. There are so many bads that are in this world now, this TV world of Marvel, which at the end of that episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about the TV world of Marvel, because like some stuff happened this week, which was amazing to change everything.
I think that's also a question of, is this happening at the same time as Captain, like Winter's, because they don't, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the layer that cake of when this happened timeline wise?
This is at Christmas. I don't know.
I think we're pretty current, and I think that a note that I put down was that I think just super played out, and I know we're getting here. It was the timing and delay of Black Widow, the film. That Black Widow was supposed to come out, and listen, it's a prequel, so I'm not talking about timing within the universe. I just mean timing as a fan. And there was that whole thing with Julia Dreyfus. Like, was Yelena really supposed to show up maybe earlier than, you know? We saw Julia in Black Widow, then we get her in Winter Soldier. I don't know. So
that's
we're seeing things in a weird order, but it's still working great. And I think it was cool that we had Yelena so close, and we didn't have a couple years in between. So anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So, real quick, just to bring this up, because I like to hit the comic book aspect of it, and I don't think this is going to play any part whatsoever. If you look, and I know this is tough to see in a screenshot like this, behind Clint, you can see swords in that little basket. Weird thing. That's where you put your umbrellas, what have you. Maybe walking sticks, but swords is a weird thing to have there. One of the swords is red, one of them is blue. And as we've talked about in the past, and if you watched last week's episode, Mike wore blue and he wore red. Oh no, that was Hallmark. That was Hallmark, guys. I'm sorry, I'm confusing.
It's our side hustle.
Sorry, side gig. Yeah, it's a comedy sports thing, but it also, a lot of people think that it might reference the Crimson Crusader and the Swordsman. So this is the Duquesne family. You know, Jack is the swordsman. Again, they're probably not going to get into this, but in the comic aspect of it, it was a cool little, hey, here's an Easter egg. We'll just throw it in. Will something come of it? Who the hell knows? Probably not. So then we go with Clint texts his wife to find out about Sloan Ltd. This is about the only bit we get on Sloan. Mostly comes back inconclusive, other than Jack runs Sloan Limited, which it makes me very sad, because I'm hoping something will come of this, but I'm also hoping nothing will come of this. So to Chris's point, and then they in the phone call conversation, they do talk about this Rolex that we've already seen in the episode, last week's episode. We don't know what it is. There's a lot of talk. Is it nanotechnology for Iron Man? Is it something we just don't even know anything about yet?
Is it something that Vanessa gave to Kingpin as a gift and it's just sentimental value? I was trying to think. I was trying not to Google it before this episode because I wanted to bring it up without knowing the answer. But I picture him like always messing with his cufflinks. Did he have a Rolex watch? Like I can't remember.
I don't know. That's a great question. That's very possible.
He must have. Those people that wear, like, I feel like it's the whole, because I think there was the episode where they show him getting fully ready. He definitely had a drawer of watches he picked up. Yeah.
There is a belief too, Laura, Clint's wife, he likely did not meet her at the A&P.
Right. That's what
she's probably also in the world. She speaks German here to him so that the kids can't pick it up. They're speaking in code and then she just full on goes German. He continues to speak English, but understands everything she's saying. She's obviously a spy as well.
Yeah.
So, and then what we will find out in a little bit is that when we get that Rolex watch, when Kate finds it, she also finds information on Clint's family. So there's obviously something more in there than just simply, this is his side gig, which is family life and whatnot.
Do you think you would go so far as to say that she is like Black Widow, like she is part of that Black Widow program?
I don't know, dude. That would be amazing.
She's a little bit of that in this episode just because of the tie-in at the end, again, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Here at Remark, we tend to just really push towards the end.
Watch the whole thing. Don't be one of those. Don't scrub through. You gotta watch it all. You might miss
the whole thing.
Watch it all.
That's possible too, Mike, because again, when Laura talks about Natasha, it's nice that a man can have a relationship with a woman that is not his wife, like a friend relationship or a colleague relationship. I mean, we all are friends and, it's not weird to, all of us are married and it's not weird to us. Chris and I have known each other for years. Chris is close with my wife. So, but it still feels like Laura and Natasha had their own friendship, not just... Yeah. This is a very good friend of my husband's. It's like it's very possible she went through that Black Widow program. It's possible that I don't mean to cut you off, but it's possible that Eleanor also has some weird connection to the Black Widow program.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is like, I'm assuming in obviously the Black Widow program, they had like handlers and people sort of on the other side of the ear and different things. I feel like Laura, right, could have been more on that side of things, more organizationally, and less.
Eleanor, same thing, being in security.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can we talk finally about the awkward dance and serendipity?
Yeah. So leading into that, let me say this very quickly because we got an important piece of information I don't want to let go that I think a lot of people missed, and this changes everything in Marvel going forward. Yeah. Jack mentions that Huey Lewis is his idol. That is important. That is very important. Yeah. Very important. No, the thumbs down it. If it comes back into play, Mike, you're gonna be like, Kevin Reagan.
I was kind of with you with your red sword, blue sword thing, but you lost me at Huey Lewis being important.
Can I tell you, I Googled and looked through every Huey Lewis album to try and find a reference to the red and blue, and there was nothing. There's nothing. I thought walking on a thin line, that doesn't...
Well, but it perfectly segues into my point from before, Kevin, with this whole scene, which I know Kristin hated. I also disliked. You seem to enjoy that. Like, I just don't like this, that it feels like it's playing out to be just a silly guy that we suspected the whole time. And I think that's where it's going.
I can't wait for this segment then. All right, so Kristin, yes. Let's talk about the dance scene.
So it felt so clunky and forced. And I have this weird, I think it's a very weird personal thing and they do it in the Hallmark movies.
I know what you're going to say.
They do an affectionate thing in front of their children or family. Yeah. And I feel as though, not that this is too much of an intimate moment, but it is. And just knowing that Kate's there and them like kissing and like him singing, I would be like, no. Like
every time.
Oh my.
This is where our side gig really comes in. Every time we watch a Hallmark movie and people dance to Christmas music, I'm like, you're not supposed to dance to Christmas. And they were dancing to the Christmas song, Nat King Cole, and it was just like, it was weird.
I think it was more weird Kate's reaction to it, that she was, because I thought they were just playing another like, oh, this couple's awkward, they're hiding something thing. But then when she genuinely was like, oh,
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's where it lost me a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, did they mean for
and this is not going to bode well. So then Jack has a couple of aphorisms that he completely botches. First one being, life is short, you never know what you're going to get, which again, when you listen to it and boil it down, it makes total sense. Like, it does make sense. It's just you don't put them together. The second one being, absent makes the heart grow old. Also true. It is true. And he says, my heart is growing old, when he pulls her in and kisses her. My thing, which I love that you guys are not on the same page with me, is I really like this guy, and I don't want him to be bad. I think he's charming. Okay.
I like this guy. I'm not saying that. I just don't like intimacy in front of your child.
Wait, do we need a transition?
Mike, I think we do, because I would like to see what Chris, Mike, and myself...
It's time to play Hawkeye, Heartthrob, Hunkiness, Objectification. I'm singing better than Jack, H3O.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see how many pierced targets.
Oh, my God. I was not ready for this.
I know. I didn't tell you about this. So if you followed us in Loki, we did this every week. We do this in every single time we watch any Hallmark movie, but we do our holiday objectification. This is Hawkeye holiday hunky objectification. This is a Kristin staple. We need to do this. We can objectify these dudes because the ladies have been objectified for far too long.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, we'll be objectifying sweet Jack Duquesne and his sword fighting abilities. That sweet Reynolds-esque mustache.
Don't try to sell. I don't know why we're even wasting episode time.
Are you really? I'm just going to come out and say it. This guy, I love him. 8. Easily an 8 for this dude. I love him. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I love him. He's charming as hell. He's never been anything but really good to Kate. I don't even care if he killed his uncle, because his uncle might have been a creepo. So, fine with me. I don't think he did. I think Eleanor did. But still, I like this dude a lot. I think it is going to turn out that he is something. I don't think he'll be bad. And I think he is going to live in that world of not quite the Punisher going to DC, more of a Catwoman type character where he's very self-serving, but he's also decent. That's fair.
But like
an 8, Kristin.
You're ridiculous.
Kristin, I want to save yours because I think you hate Jack as much as I do. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't know what my lowest score has been in our time. We remarked Loki. I've remarked some Loki. We remarked some holiday, and I think I never gave below like a 6 or 7. This guy is a 4.5, and that's being generous. And I don't mean the actor. Obviously, we're objectifying the character, not the actor. I think the actor's doing a fine job with this weird sort of like vague thing. I think the back and forth of like, is he good, is he not, like even his own intentions like in the show don't make any sense. If it turns out, I'm gonna lower my score by episode 6. If it turns out he's just like a frumpy dude with nothing, I'm going like super low, 0.5, maybe even -1.
Why can't slumpy dudes or whatever why can't they get high ratings?
I'm not hating on slumpy dudes. I'm hating on this specific slumpy dude.
All right, because on behalf of all slumpy dudes everywhere, I don't need to hate.
So I was not expecting this. I don't even have a caliber for this because I usually totally base it off of like, their looks, how they look in pants. Is it a well-fitted shirt? I mean, he doesn't. My bells aren't jingling. They're not jingling. He's not a bad-looking dude, not the actor, but what they've done with this mustache is like, yes, like,
so stupid.
And like, he just is almost too cheesy for me.
Yeah. Too cheesy. He doesn't fit.
Which is what he's really supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't think he fits necessarily right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm conflicted. So I'm going to give him a 3, which if that may go up if he ends up being a baddie, because I think we know Kristin likes a baddie.
Yeah.
True.
But I think if he ends up what Mike's saying, just this like red herring, he's going down to a 0 for me because then I'm just going to be angry.
Mike, can I reconfirm? You said 5?
No,
4.5.
I said 4.5. 4.5.
Oh, so close to you guys combined being my 8, because then we just would have said 2 8s, and that's fine for me.
Hey, Kristin,
Get
you know how Kevin surprised you with a Hollywood hunky objectification? Yeah. I've got a surprise for Kevin. I've got my own photo, because we all know who the real star of this episode is, and he was looking super adorbs in this sweater combo. Come on, there it is.
There it is.
There's the picture.
Unbelievable.
Come on.
Good looking dude.
Dude, he's such a good looking dude.
I like that. Is that Angry Cat? Is it Grumpy Cat?
It looks
Grumpy
like
Cat.
Yeah, and I think that when he put that on, and it was just like the one shot of him sitting there. That scene was great. That like brought me back into the episode. I think that whole holiday hangout, and there's our you know we're not. I'm gonna give it 8. There's my 8. There's my 8 right now.
I am giving this. Okay, I think I'm taller than him.
Possibly.
I think he's a shorty, which is fine. I don't have anything against shorter men. However,
Jack Duquesne is 7'1".
There is something about his crankiness. But then one of my favorite things, and I'm bringing a little bit of Jeremy Renner into this, is Jeremy Renner has one of the best laughs I've ever heard on like a dude that you assume does not laugh. It's like hearing Ron Swanson laugh. Like, it's like, I didn't think he had it in him. He can get it. My bells are jingling, like jingle bells. He gets a 9.
I think I said this on this podcast. I may have just said it to friends. I was not a fan of Jeremy Renner for a few years because I must have read something incorrectly. I thought I heard some relatively negative stuff about him. He's a serious actor. I've read a lot of interviews recently. His appearance on Hot Ones, I'm a huge fan of Hot Ones on YouTube. If you're looking for a good one, Tom Holland is the guest.
Oh my god.
He's great.
Really good.
So Renner was fantastic on that. His interviews have been great. The idea that he told Marvel pretty early on when he realized what he signed on for, that they're welcome to replace him because his daughter comes first and he can't keep up with the shooting schedule. And they said, no, we'll work it out. Don't worry. I love that sort of stuff. Yeah. And you know, obviously the actor oftentimes brings pieces of themselves into that character. And that's who Hawkeye is to me. We see him, his love for his family. He really is the only person that we are following with the effects of the blip the way we are. Scott Lang also had some serious moments, but Scott Lang is such a comical character that they didn't really dwell too deeply into it. And I doubt that they even will in Quantumania. So this is the guy that we're kind of living through. He lost his whole family. Sure, he went on a killing spree because that's probably what most of us would do. It's very death.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I love him. I definitely got to go higher than my 8 that I gave Jack, who is still awesome, and we don't have all his back.
Stop fighting for Jack. What's your score? What's your score?
This guy's getting a 9.5. 9.5.
That was another episode of Hawkeye, Heartthrob Hunkiness, Objectification.
And I love Mike's
H2O? H3O. I don't know. Either or.
All those. So this is a great segue with this picture too, because then we see, Kate realizes that Clint is alone. It's the holidays. She brings him some cheeriness, this sweater included, and to his credit, he adopts all of it. He does not. He's a great improviser where he does not say no. He gets on board right away. They decorate. They have festive drinks. They get hammered together. And things get nice and serious. But first they talk about trick arrows once more. We have no trick arrow bit this week other than to say we find that his rationalization of there are no trick arrows is because there are only trick arrow heads. So he asks Kate to go off and get those arrowheads back as he's doing other things. But
my question... Kevin, get those arrowheads back.
From the police. They're impounded at the police station.
When did that happen? Did I miss that in this series, or was it was like prior to this, like they just took...
I would assume
picked them up. I thought that was kind of weird, actually. I just assumed that an exploding arrowhead would be done, and you can't reuse it. So maybe some of them are reusable, some are they're not. Yeah, but they were claiming that, like, they were claiming that the cops just picked them up, like, after the battle on the bridge.
Yeah,
and,
like,
brought them back to the
that's why. Okay, I was like, wait, did I miss when like his stuff had been? Okay, great. Carry on.
So then we have some serious moments. Clint does teach Kate how to flip a coin. He turns off the radio and TV with one coin. Very Bullseye, by the way. Character from Daredevil. Daredevil, one of his arch nemesis. Another arch nemesis of Daredevil, Kingpin. Just throwing it out there. I want to keep it reminding everyone. This is the world we live in. So then we see, as Kate is trying, she finally does it and turns on the TV to It's a Wonderful Life, which is great because we ultimately see a very George Bailey moment that is Clint Barton. He's a dark, brooding dude. He's got a son and 2 daughters, and he's trying to get back to them. So he is, in that essence, he is George Bailey, which is awesome. And I have a theory that this series will end with him wrapping his arms around those kids and then Laura coming in, very similar to the ending of It's a Wonderful Life. Probably no Clarence, so I apologize for that, Kristin.
Wow.
Maybe a bathroom one.
Yeah, this is where we objectify Clarence the Angel from this one.
Well, Mark Hamill did just read as Clarence. They did a reading of it. Hilarious. And Jason Sudeikis was Bailey.
George Bailey, yeah. So we also have Clint talking about, Kate asks, what's the best shot you ever took? And he says, it's the shot I didn't take. And we hear about Budapest again. And we've never truly gotten what happened in Budapest. We got a little bit more through the film Black Widow. I would imagine more of this will come into play, probably with Yelena, that we do find out a little bit more about Clint. But we now know, and I don't think we knew this before, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as MCU, that Clint was sent to kill Black Widow.
We did. We did from the original Avengers, because that's why she was so wanting to get him back and not hurt him. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's a big thing in the comics as well. So that is part of his driving force, was this broken woman, this broken person that he knew this person is salvageable. And I think that kind of dictates everything that Clint does. That is who he is as a human being. And everything he does, even his finally getting with the clown, whose name I forget at the moment. The clown is his comic book character, Kazi. When he talks with Kazi in the car, he says Maya is going to get herself killed. And
sure.
That is Clint's driving force. Is he is trying to help and save everybody.
I think he's a fixer. Like he's like a, like I wonder what his astrological sign is. Like if he's
next week, that'll be our bit. That's what we'll do.
But this is also the moment when Kate realizes, oh, you're Ronin.
Yes.
And that was so much less stressful than I thought it was going to be. I thought she was going to be, but I think the way they wrote it in this, because she starts with, you watched your family disappear. And he was like, well, so did everyone else. He never wants to make it about him, which is so selfless about him, which he always has been. So I think it set it up for a beautiful moment for her to realize then, oh my God, you've killed, I think she sort of was like, I get it. I know why you did this and I don't have a problem with it, that was beautiful.
Yeah. The whole scene in that apartment was very good from start to finish. Our Capricorn is what I'm seeing here. It's a January birthday, which is funny because we're around the holidays. It's gotta get.
Or Leo. He might be a Leo to Capricorn. Great actor. Great actor. So we get a lot of awesome Clint-isms. Thank you for that. He talks about that life is a game of managing loss. He talks about himself being a weapon. She says, you're a spy. He says, I was a weapon. So he obviously sees himself in a way where, again, to your point, Chris, about being a fixer, he's not just trying to fix others. I think he deep down is trying to fix himself because he feels he himself is broken and probably not worthy of the family he has. Again, over and over and over, that idea of Natasha gave up her life where he offered to give up his to bring his family back. But here's somebody who gave up her life, in essence, to bring back many, many, many more people, but also specifically in his heart to his own family. So,
and Kevin, can I segue to this really quick since it's coming
absolutely.
up? Because this showed up obviously in nice. This showed up in episode 1 on the toilet, the urinal, right? And then it comes, and I thought it was maybe just going to be kind of a throwaway thing, like, oh, this is the world we're living in, where maybe where people think this and stuff. But now Clint has, I mean, we all know we're all mug drinkers. Like you make, I feel like when you look at a series of mugs, you will often subconsciously maybe not choose ones or choose one. So he made a conscious choice to drink out of this.
That's
mug.
a great point.
Maybe I'm overthinking this a little bit, but I feel like, and it clearly the director made an like, please hold it towards the camera, Clint. You know what I mean? And so I wonder if there's part of him also battling that is like, would I trade my family for Natasha, right? If like Thanos never had, or something like that, or does he really believe that things were better off or not? I don't know. I think that's kind of extreme to go that far and say that, but when he saw it on the thing, he kind of was like, he didn't nod, but he was like, oh man, people really feel this way. He chuckled. He chose it here. Maybe he doesn't believe it, but I think he's in this world where he thinks that people do. So what's the point? Why did I save all these people? You know what I mean?
He was in the audience for Rogers the Musical in that moment, though, so that also could affect. But yeah, I mean, this is Aunt Moira's mug. But to your point, he was hungover because they were drinking an awful lot. But that is the mug he chose, and so I don't know. So then we have the LARPers are back. And the LARPers are one of the things so far on the internet that seem to divide the audiences. A lot of people felt they took way too much time with them when they originally showed up. And, Kate and Clint were not together in all of those times. They're separated briefly here, but the LARPers coming in literally come back into their lives. And there's something very cool to be said about that. For comic book nerds out there, Wendy Conrad, who is the cop that's going to get those heads back, she basically says it later because she has the bag that says Bombshell. She is a character named Bombshell in the comic books. She was hired to cut off Clint's arm. Like that was what her task was, because obviously he's an archer, chop off his arm. To that point, if you watched Marvel, not Elseworld, that's DC. What was it called? The series on Disney Plus, the cartoons.
What if?
Clint, there is a scene where Clint has a bionic arm when he's fighting, and that was Ultron had ripped his arm off in that What If storyline. But still, there's so much that's mined from the comic books. Whether they'll go exactly down those holes, I sincerely doubt, because again, that would take the show into Loki's already got a season 2. I don't know that this needs a season 2, 3, 4. I'd rather them get him back into the movie. So.
Well, that's what I appreciate all the comic Easter eggs that they do, but at the same time, I think it's muddying which direction the story is going to go a little bit, or what we should believe or not believe. Like, I feel like I'm putting my focus on the wrong people when, like, in actuality, it might end. And I'm like, oh, I got to go back and watch it because I was watching the wrong people. Like,
Well, and they're playing this game, which they have to be careful because you can only do it so many times, of the big cameos and the big reveals, right? And I remember one of the biggest disappointments of the amazing series, WandaVision, was everyone was so looking forward to this
Doctor Strange.
Surely Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, like and then when it didn't happen, it wasn't the show's fault that we were so disappointed, but they made that happen. Well, it was a little bit because they kept saying like, oh, same thing with the uncle. And, we're pretty sure 99% that it's going to be Kingpin. But again, just like, let's get there. Let's not have that be the finale. You know what I mean? And have it always be like, oh, who's the one in the mask? Oh, it's,
If that uncle turns out to be Jack, I am going to laugh. I will hurt my throat laughing so hard at how angry you guys get.
It can't not be Kingpin. I might stop watching Marvel. No, I won't.
I will pull my TV out. I'm done with this. So then Clint does interrogate Kazi. That's where he says Maya's going to get herself killed. The LARPers agree to make costumes, which is going to be awesome. That'll probably show up in the next episode. And this all brings us to Kate and Clint on the rooftop trying to find, there's an address that they are going after. They don't know whose address this is. It is very Daredevil-esque, the way they shoot the top of that rooftop. And this would be a great time just to very briefly talk about Kevin Feige said this week that any appearance of Daredevil in the MCU would be Charlie Cox. That's a big deal. And then, of course, Vincent D'Onofrio immediately reposted and applauded, saying how great Charlie Cox is, and everyone's like, goddamn, Vincent D'Onofrio is 100% back as Kingpin. There's just no if, ands, or buts.
You know what I found interesting? My wife, I rewatched the episodes a second time with her because she wasn't able to watch them because we watched them a little bit earlier to get these episodes in. She does not. We just watched 3 today before I watched 4 again, and she didn't get the Kingpin reference. So I think there is that sort of once removed, if you will, not as nerdy, not as into it. They are keeping it a little bit more subtle for those folks. Now, if you go on the internet, you're screwed. But so anyway, but it's definitely Kingpin.
Some fans, Mike, I read your dad's blog, and he is 100% on board. That's Kingpin. So.
So the one thing that I loved about this, like the neat thing that they used is like Kate had to use those. So the arrows do work again because she used the purple goobly goo arrows. To cover the alarm that was going off. Yeah. But the one thing that was interesting to me was this was a quite established apartment. Yes. Like this was where someone lived. And so that's interesting about Maya, that they have a space that really is their own. So they're not as in hiding or in danger of someone finding them as I assumed Maya lived her life. Right. Like, so that I felt really interesting. And then the whole time, Maya just seemed like, what is this? Yeah. Because it was like, who's this other bitch?
Well, we don't know who and that's exactly it. The fight occurs, and that's where Kate says, Maya's here, to which Clint says, Maya's fighting me on the rooftop. And then we have a picture, Mike, right, of... Oh, maybe I don't have a picture of that masked individual. We don't know who that person is. We do have this. Yeah. So as Kate gets back to the rooftop via a zip line, I'll explain this in a second. Via the zip line, she gets stuck in the middle. And then our masked person, who we have absolutely no idea whatsoever who this masked person could possibly be. We just could not suss this out. It's not possible. That person, I almost said she, but how would I know? They jump up, grab the line, and people online are saying, well, they did that because it helped them fight. And I was like, not really. They didn't need to do that, which brought Kate over. And I felt like, it seemed like that person was protecting Kate, who was stuck at that moment.
It was a weird fight. And I want to watch it again because
I watched it like 4 times.
Yeah, I think the fight choreography so far has been very good and very specific. Yeah. And to have them, it's exactly what you said, Kevin. It felt like there was like a couple different fights going on. It wasn't just Yelena and or the masked figure, the masked figure and Maya fighting Clint and Kate. They were everybody, and so I liked it. It was cool. It was just confusing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So our masked individual can fight everyone up there. Obviously, Maya can fight everyone up there. Clint and Kate aren't going to fight each other, though. In this moment here, this is that masked figure clipping Kate in deliberately and then throwing her off the roof. And then we get this moment, which was an amazing moment where we see Clint run and say no, but not even yell it. It's like that scared, I can't help you, I can't fix this, and it's that idea, I lost somebody else. This is the exact same thing that happened with him and Natasha. They even played some of the music from Boromir in this scene where this is literally Clint's nightmare. And then we see that Kate is suspended because our masked figure made sure she didn't die. She's protected on a zip line here. So he cuts her loose because he knows at this point she'll be protected as she falls through the Christmas lights because he wants her to get away and leave. She's not going to do that. She comes back immediately. And then finally, our reveal. After Maya leaves, she gets shot with an arrow. She leaves because she's like, screw this. And finally, our reveal: who could this person possibly be?
Who could it be?
Drum roll. We've only said it a few times so far. It's Yelena Belova.
Oh yeah, right. Because she was on IMDb for this episode this week. What the hell? Like we knew she was going to show up, but like they literally put her on IMDb, and it was just like, guys, seriously.
So interesting thing, because I follow her on social media, and she had started posting pictures of her from the series in midday, and the world attacked her, and then Instagram made her took them down.
Yeah.
And she was like, I find it very interesting that I can't post pictures of a show that I was a part of. Like, it was, like, it's her job. Like, let her do it. Like, it's not like, come on. Like, that's when I get mad at the Marvel people. It's like, this isn't real. Yeah. Like, it's not gonna, like, I don't get that mad at spoilers. I really don't, because then I watch it definitely at a different time, like a frame of mind. But we knew she was showing up. I didn't care when. We just knew she would. And oh my God, I'm heart goes out to her. And then Haley Steinfeld was like, they were both supporting each other back and forth of being these like female people in this show, which was really cool. Well, also, I know we can't objectify women, but if we could, 10.
Okay. I mean, I'm listening. I wouldn't. Yeah, you know, it is stupid.
Rachel Weisz in Black Widow. There's my 10 plus. But she's been a 10 for me for a long time.
The social media stuff is, it doesn't matter what subject you're talking about. Sport, I mean, obviously politics. This shit was made for politics, but sports. But this like fun fandom, like, be more like the LARPers. They have a good time. They have other side gigs, or that's their side gig. Like, calm the F down. Elizabeth Olsen left social media because when Chadwick Boseman died, the internet didn't feel she was quick enough to give her remorse to the world. Like, I just know who she's friends with.
They don't know you anything.
Out to his wife and family, and you know, it's like, calm the hell down, man.
Tom Hiddleston stopped. Tom Hiddleston has an Instagram, but has stopped because he's like, what do you? I don't know what they want.
I know. Well, he and I just text now, anyhow.
Okay.
Sorry, Chris.
You're like you're his Kate Bishop, aren't you? You're like,
yikes.
Why haven't you texted me back? Like, what's going on?
Well, I'm his Kate Mitchell. He doesn't know who I am. It says my name wrong.
So I do have a question. When Kate arrowed up her arrow, what do we call that? I think it's arrow up. Arrowed up her arrow at Yelena.
When she notched her,
Yelena did the most sexy, like, just no, like, she didn't say anything, because Yelena had 0 lines in this.
Yeah.
But like, what are our assumptions? Does Kate already know who she is? Does Kate already, what is Kate like? I don't know. I couldn't decide.
I think this kind of back to, I'll say something. I know, Kevin.
I
think it maybe goes back a little bit to Yelena being there as a protector, not as like a bad guy or attacker, maybe a recruiter of sorts. You know what I mean? Looking for folks, and we just didn't get enough. She didn't get enough time to get out like what she was there for. You know? Although she did, I guess, attack Clint. Although we didn't see that. That was off camera, and then it kind of cut to them like already in a stranglehold. I don't know, Kevin. What do you think?
No, I mean, you had brought it up earlier, Mike, too, is who is she? Who is Kate even? That idea of, has her mother been training her? That's a very strong possibility. Is she part of the Black Widow program? Is her, like, again, this is where this is perfect. We don't write any of this. These are improvisers up here who just talk out their asses on what they think.
We don't cut anything. We just upload it immediately after.
Right. So. Yeah, it just goes right up. A little late this week, but that's just the way things worked out. But Chris, what you're saying about Instagram too, people need to calm down, because we talk a lot about like where this stuff again is mined in the comic books, and if they just shot the comic book, I love the comic books, I would be bored to tears because I've already read it, and I'd be like, guys, we did this. Do we really? Mm-hmm. I know what's going to happen. I like that they go, well, but we're changing this. So Kate Bishop has 0 to do with the Black Widow program in the comic books. It would be amazing if she was part of it, and Yelena knows her and protects her because she is part of the Black. That would be mind-blowing and awesome. I personally don't think they're going to do that, but it would be awesome.
No, because I had like a little thought of like, oh my gosh, Kate knows her from like archery club, and like, because Yelena went to go sort of scout Kate at school is sort of this weird nugget in my head, but I think I dug too deeply into wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really cool, obviously Clint immediately knew by the fighting style, the way that this person sort of just probably presented themselves was part of the Black Widow program.
But she had the bracelets too and did the electrocution thing.
Yeah.
At that point, it was like, well, clearly this is Black Widow.
But I think even the moment she showed up and did one kick, he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like, I love that then, I mean, he was already done with Kate, not like done personally, but like done partners, right? But like, I think that moment he was like, oh crap.
Yes. He can't protect her. And that was it. And he takes her bow away and sends her home. And that's the end of the episode, because it's like exactly that. The things I can fix, there are things I can fix, things I know I can't fix.
Yeah, this is one of them.
I'll be able to fix. You're done. Goodbye. And that will take us into whatever comes in this 5th episode, Kingpin. And I'm very much looking forward to it. But that said, what a filled episode that started once again with the line simply, why isn't there an Avenger in my dining room? Which makes me wonder, why is there an Avenger in the dining room?
All right, everyone, it's time for this week's game show. Why is there an Avenger in my dining room?
Wow.
All right,
Look at them
tonight's
eating.
contestants on Why Is There an Avenger in My Dining Room, Kevin and Kristin. I've been following along with Remark. We've played kind of a silly game show each and every week. The score is currently 1-1. 1-1. Kristin, you won what does Thanos call his fish? And Kevin, you won pizza dog names, right, or whatever.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with a pet and its name this time. So
here's how this game works. I'm going to give you an Avenger, and both of you have to say what that Avenger might bring to a potluck dinner. What do they bring to your dinner room? All right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kick this off with just one of our favorite photos there. That's what's inspired this round. It's one of the best. It's still one of my favorite scenes in all of Marvel movie history. Is them eating.
Not a word said.
Not a word said. So what would each of these Avengers bring? All right. So obviously this series is very heavily surrounded by or the topic of Natasha Romanoff. So we're going to start with Black Widow. Black Widow. What would Black Widow bring to your dinner? Who wants to take it first?
My goodness. Kev, go ahead.
All right, so Black Widow. We unfortunately know her ending, if you will. I'm going to go with a pineapple upside down cake. I will go with.
Okay.
Oh my!
Yeah.
I think that there are many layers to Miss Romanoff. Therefore, I think she would bring both a vegetarian and meat lasagna. Just the option. The option.
I like that. I do like the upside down. She flips. She does flips like that. But she is also practical. She would bring something for everybody. That's a point for Kristin. Unfortunately, neither of you got the correct answer, which is a peanut butter sandwich.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, that is the correct. All right. Next up, Tony Stark himself, Iron Man. Iron Man. What would Iron Man bring to your dining room?
I thought about this one, and I think that Tony would have grabbed one of the decorations, be it a poinsettia or like a snowman from like the front lawn of your house, or if he was going into a hotel, he'd grab a poinsettia from the hotel and then just give that to you. I think he'd grab whatever was on his way in, he'd bring in to you.
He forgot that he had to bring a present. Yeah, he's just like, okay. All right, Kevin.
Well, I'm going to go with a comic book answer and say a lot of alcohol, because we know Tony Stark was an alcoholic in the comics. But to kind of bring some MCU-ness into it, those alcoholic beverages, he would have one that he could take with him. Therefore, he has a roadie. Yes,
I hate you so much.
Oh, God. I was going to give you the point when you just said alcohol because I thought it was comic related, but you followed it up with
2 points because of roadie.
No, with a pun. So Kristin gets the point again for that one.
If you don't like puns, there's no way I'm going to win.
The correct answer is a box of donuts, though. A box of donuts.
Yes.
Yeah, he picked up a box of donuts and brought them.
I love it.
All right, next up is the Hulk. The Hulk. And I will specify, we're thinking the Hulk. He's in Hulk form. And he shows up to your dining room, not necessarily Bruce Banner, but the Hulk. What would the Hulk bring to your dining room?
Kev, you go first this time.
Easy. Smash potatoes.
Oh, you son of a gun. That I was sort of gonna go with a smashed pun,
No,
but
too late. Point for Kevin. Everybody.
Finally.
So you led with if you lead with the pun, I like it. When you follow up, you're already.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
All right, so point goes to Kevin. But the correct answer is a breakfast burrito.
There he is.
Pancakes with he also had tacos. I think he ate a lot as Smart Hulk. A lot of fun things. All right, next up, everybody, is Thor. Score is 2-1. Next up is Thor. Again, we sort of anticipated this for those who are watching, but we're also just improvising this on the spot. So
yeah,
a lot of fun. Thor.
Can I go first if we're doing puns up front?
Go, I guess. Go for it. I don't know.
I just, because he knew Tony was going to bring a bunch of alcohol, and not everyone wants that. So instead of having beer, he would bring Mjolnir beer, which is like beer, but I didn't hear the bell, Mike. Turn your audio up.
Kristen, give me anything.
He's bringing a brisket.
Brisket win.
I don't think I can win this round.
Okay, so here's the new rule, Kevin. You either have to just nail the pun. Don't set up the pun. Don't end with the pun. Just hit the pun. Just hit the
Got
pun.
Don't explain your comedy, Kevin.
Correct answer is guacamole. Guacamole.
Yeah. There's a lot of food in the Avengers. I never realized it.
You Google comic books. I Google Avengers eating food.
Eating food.
All right. Last but not least, he's the leader of the pack. Captain America. What would Captain America bring to your dining room?
Oh my! I'm saying all American. He's bringing an apple pie that's still warm because it came out of the oven fresh.
I'm gonna go with Coney Island dogs. The man loves where he comes from.
Oh, all right. You know what? As someone who loves a good Coney Island hot dog with some chili on it, I'm giving you that point, Kevin. That brings the score. Kristen 3, Kevin 2. Kristen wins this week's episode. But a special bonus edition. The correct answer leads us into another Hawkeye heartthrob Hunkiness Objectification. Okay, that's enough of that. This is the correct answer. And oh boy, talk about some hunk objectification. This is not Captain America, but this is Chris Evans at Fatburger. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's a 10. That's a 10.
Can I ask you guys, have you ever eaten Fatburger before?
No.
The best. Even as a vegan, because they have vegan options, vegetarian options. Fatburger, I know people in LA, they'll be like, In-N-Out burgers are the best. I would go to Fatburger all the time, even when I was not a vegetarian. Holy crap, the best. Fried egg on that bad boy? That I obviously couldn't do now. Bacon, couldn't do that now either. It was, oh my God, my mouth's watering. They've got one in Atlantic City, the three of us. Let's do it.
Kevin, my mouth is watering for other reasons. Also, I never listened
fair enough. Fair
enough.
Sure. Yeah.
We have a man wearing a tight V-neck t-shirt on the screen, like times 3. I'm busy.
But I can still eat fast food. You know what I mean?
But I can eat fast food. Oh.
He did not eat that. He threw that in the trash. That was for a photo op only. And then he ate one.
No way.
No.
I don't even care. I don't care what Chris Evans does after having to be Captain America with his body. I don't care. I want it. I love him. All those tattoos. Oh, sweet Jesus, sweet mother of pearl. Clutch my pearls. Excuse me. 10. Are we rating him?
Well, in the past, we've rated him in the millions, Chris.
It is millions. It is
Chris Evans in the world of Remark. We rated him for something in the past. I don't recall what, but he was in the millions. So
it's 10 million.
10 million for me as well. Yep, look at that bonus.
Look at that. What are you guys excited for next week? I'm excited that they introduced Yelena early and it wasn't just like a last minute thing, because that means she probably will have lines and a scene, and it's not just going to be the like Julia Louis-Dreyfus like cameo, like, oh, we're here to recruit you for the, what do they call them? Not the Bad Avengers, the what's the comic? Anyway, they're like the Dark Avengers. Is that what it is? And then, but I think they're gonna save Kingpin until episode 6, the final minute. I don't think he's gonna play like a big part in terms of this specific storyline. I think he's just gonna be the big bad at the end. That gets us excited for ultimately whatever the next Marvel thing is. So.
I'm also excited because we have this split essentially of Kate and Hawkeye, I don't think she's going to go some other direction. I think she's just going to keep trying to keep coming back. Also, they have new costumes, so I need to see these new costumes.
Yeah, we know that's going to happen. Yeah. I'm curious, man, because again, the way they've structured this, and you have to remember, none of this is done coincidentally. None of it is just like haphazard. It is Disney, Marvel. All of this is planned out. There is the possibility. Now, I know Spider-Man got delayed a little bit, but there's the possibility that something happening in Spider-Man can have, resignation. It depends on where all of that is. I don't think they're going to go so deep into having all of a sudden on episode 6 of Hawkeye to have like multiverse or anything of the sort. But there are things that you may see if we see Matt Murdock show up in Spider-Man, which is the strong belief. I can't see why you wouldn't have Kingpin, and that world just starts to get tied closer and closer together. That said, there's a lot of talk that episode 5 is the episode where S goes crazy, so things happen, and that has been kind of the way of Disney. That's what would happen in all the Star Wars properties. It's what has been happening in all of the Marvel stuff so far, is that the penultimate episode, if you will, the second to last episode, has been the one that really is the shot in the arm that everyone's like, oh my God. And then the last episode is just really tying that up and launching us into whatever the next property ends up being.
They also haven't had any ending credit extra stuff, which a lot of these episodes have. Yeah. So I keep checking, but there isn't any. So I wonder if they're going to.
Yeah, they've kept it pretty clean at both the top and the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's supposedly going to blow up Twitter, Kevin, is what all the like comicbookmovie.com, all the sort of nerdy websites are saying, which means we definitely have to watch that one pretty live, because I think
pretty live.
Some spoilers happening. So again, public service announcement on for social media again. Don't have fun.
Calm down.
You know what I mean? But calm down.
Calm down.
Calm down.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Will he get home for Christmas? He's gonna get home for Christmas. 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days till Christmas.
3 days.
Yeah. Oh, and if you want an awesome Christmas mix, Chris has been curating it the whole time on Spotify. We post it on Remark on Facebook. I'll pop it over on Twitter too, so if you follow us there, Remark the Show at Facebook and Instagram, and just Remark Show. I don't know why I dropped the article by accident, I guess, for Twitter. Those 3 characters are necessary. We need them. So check us out, follow us there. You can like and subscribe to this YouTube page. Please do that. We do things other than just Hallmark movies. If you're like, well, what else do they do? We're working on stuff, and we're working on stealing Mike Grigoric's soul, so he does all of it with us. So hang with us and see what happens. Guys, what are you doing? What are your plans? You can just talk about what you're doing this weekend. What's happening?
Speaking of the holidays, my company, The Drunk Text, we bring classic texts and bring them back to life, all while playing drinking games, is doing our annual Charles Dickens Christmas Carol with puppets this weekend. So check it out. We're at the Duplex. It's almost sold out for tomorrow, and then we've got next one on Sunday. Comedy Sports in New York is also back live in person at the Broadway Comedy Club, so check that out. And on social media, I'm at Mike G Does Things. I do all kinds of fun stuff like this, hanging out with Kevin and Kristin.
Like this. Wow, lots happening. It's December. But the great thing that's happening is tomorrow I will meet the Tyler Hines.
Finally.
I love you all. So if you don't see me after tomorrow, you know where I am. But I will be hopefully interviewing some lovely folks at Christmas Con about how much they love Hallmark movies and this and that. And also watch our Hallmark stuff. It's not as dumb as you'd think. I mean, Hallmark's really is dumb but fun, but we're fun dumb. And Comedy Sports Philadelphia. Come on.
Also, oh, I have that too, Mike. That's technically mine. Hey, I think Chris, they can still buy our shirt, right?
You darn right.
Yeah, so you can buy the Remark shirt if you'd like, and then for Chris, there you go. We get a little of that number.
Hashtag Heinies for life.
I'll support all of my friends. So Drunk Text is amazing. Mike is hilarious. Go check that out. He gets just these fantastic actors. Comedy Sports in general, Chris and Mike. I'm hoping to be back in January. Yay, get out of this stupid box. Get out of here. My kid is vaccinated. And now I can go out in the world. So get boosted, wear a mask, have fun, be nice to each other, and calm down on social media. That's all I got
Calm
to say.
down, everyone. Calm down.
Calm down.
Goodbye.
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin. Oh yeah.
Burn.